All right. So, to get this started, I just want to say welcome to my very first episode of Plots and Pots, where I garden out here in central North Carolina in zone 8A. Bear with me because I'm extremely nervous. Don't really care to be on camera, but I do want to mix the love of two things that I have, which is gardening. You may not get the most, efficient way to garden. But I want to show what it's really like in North Carolina to garden, especially late spring going into summer. It is hot, it is humid, it is sticky, it is nasty, and things don't always go the way you want it to, right? And so when I'm out here gardening, a lot of the times I am listening to nature, which is kind of what is going on right now. Oh, that breeze feels great. Or I'm listening to a true crime podcast. I don't remember which one I was listening to the other day, but it got me thinking about one that is pretty local, 10-15 minutes down the road in Benson, North Carolina. They know it for Mule Days. Big celebration happens in Benson. A lot of people enjoy it. I myself do not. I can drink at home for free. My mind went to the story of Cole Thomas. His story happened November 2016, so almost 10 years ago. And he is a 22-year-old man who just went missing. Up, gone, poof, bye. A lot of speculation, a lot of questionable decisions from the DA, the State Bureau of Investigations, and the Benson Police Department. But before I get into that story, I just want to tell you about the my mind went blank. I just want to tell you about the black eye Susans, and you can probably see in the foreground right there that they are just about to start blooming, right? So the botanical name is Rudbeckia hirta, and I'm probably butchering that with my southern accent, but you know what? That's okay, because they have common names, and if I can say the common name, that's exactly what I'm going with. Now, these guys grow all over North Carolina, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they are the state wildflower, but you can find them on roadsides. You definitely are going to find them in a southern garden somewhere, right? You're not a true southern gardener unless you have black eye Susans. That's what my grandma said anyway, so it's facts. But they will literally push through anything. So when I was out here weeding the other day, I was like, this is a great place to start to share a little bit of gardening information with you and to share the story about Cole Thomas. So I greatly appreciate you guys being here. I don't know what kind of weed it is. Maybe I'll put a close-up on the screen. It's my own version of the devil's lettuce. And it grows rampant. Let me tell you about Cole Thomas and about Benson. Benson is a small town in Johnston County, probably about 6,000 or 7,000 people. And it's, like I said, 10-15 minutes away from here. And, you know, it's one of those small towns typical in the South where everybody knows everybody. And if you're from out of town, people are going to notice that kind of thing. Cole Thomas isn't from around here. He actually, I believe, and I hope I'm not mistaken, but he was from Florida, and of course, he was 22, and he went to the University of Florida, go Gators, studying sports medicine. From what I saw in other articles and like podcasts that I've had the pleasure of reading, he was a straight A student. Didn't give his parents anything to worry about. I mean, he was 22, living life. So he decides to leave school and move to Minnesota, of all places. To leave Florida and go to Minnesota, like, I don't get it. Anyway, to become an electrician. And at 22 years old, he's trying to find himself, figure out what he likes and what he wants to do. And as a 22-year-old young man, he's able to do. Now, during November of 2016, Cole was traveling through North Carolina, and it just happened to be the day after Thanksgiving. So he didn't spend Thanksgiving at home. He was actually here. And it's kind of interesting how he ended up here because I don't believe he was here for work. Stories say that they were passing through. So I think there was differing stories there. Now, there is surveillance footage of Cole walking through Benson. I believe his family members his dad shared some footage with a podcast. And it shows Cole walking down the street from the Walgreens. They had the footage and he was walking down Walgreens. And you can see Cole walking, and then you can see like a figure kind of walking with him, I guess you would say, but he was kind of like at a diagonal behind him, right? Cole did not look like he was distressed. I don't think there was any footage of him like running to get away from this person, but his companions, his coworkers say that he jumped out, ran off on his own, and that they looked for him for like an hour and a half, couldn't find him, and that I am dropping stuff all over the place. And that's when they decided to go to the Benson Police Department to file a missing persons report. Cole's family was notified. I think it was kind of crazy how his family was notified, but I'm not going to jump into that. But anyway, the family made the drive from Florida up to North Carolina, and Benson Police Department brought in North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, so the SBI. And according to what prosecutors later laid out in court, he made that trip down here with two coworkers from Minnesota, and it turned out that they were coming this way to buy drugs. Now, don't know if Cole knew that they were coming down here to buy drugs or if Cole was aware, but based on what I'm about to tell you, it seems like maybe he wasn't aware, you know? So, somewhere around Mount Olive, which is in Wayne County, which is where they bought the drugs, they drove past a sheriff's car, and they say, they, as in the coworkers, is what I'm assuming, they say that Cole saw the cop car, the sheriff, and freaked out, and then he threw the drugs out the window. It's 22. I mean, if you were buying drugs, and I think it was meth, you probably fucking throw those drugs out the window too. I mean, hell, I probably would, especially that. Good God. So by 3 o'clock in the morning, the car had stopped at the intersection of North Elm Street and East Morgan in Benson. It's a quiet residential area. And the coworker said Cole Thomas just got out of the car and just ran. And that's like the last official sighting of him, right? They had searches and nothing came up. Weeks pass, months pass, and here we are, almost 10 years later, and nothing has been found. All right, so 9 months later, no, I take that back. In July of 2017, so yeah, maybe 9 months. I'm not doing the math on that. But it was, 8 months. I was close. 8 months after Cole disappeared, the Benson Police Department and the SBI arrested 4 guys. I do have a newspaper clipping that I'll put up here for you. I'm not going to say their names. I don't think they deserve that, but the men were charged with felony concealment of a body, and they were also charged with what's the word? Obstruction of justice. So it's like they didn't charge the guys with murder because they couldn't prove that they murdered him, but they basically just threw out, or charged him with those because they're like, well, y'all know enough, so we're going to charge you with something. Cole's father said that the arrest that were made, it was a release, but that, you know, the family's nightmare is not over because they still don't know where their son is. Now, get this. So in September of 2019, all charges were dropped. Yeah, they dropped them. I don't know. Personally, I don't know what's going on in the minds of the SBI or the Benson Police Department, but we're not going to talk about the Benson Police Department because that's locals know that's a whole nother story, especially with what's going on with the whole town council and all that mess right now. It's great. So the Johnston County DA said that she dropped the charges in order to hold on. It's the word to avoid compromising future investigations. Probably bullshit, but whatever. So Cole Thomas, bless his heart, he's never been found. His body's never been found. There's none of those guys have been convicted. So, you know, his family is just waiting. His dad, Chris, said that he said publicly that he will not stop searching, and rightly so. I mean, you're going to do what you can do if you know, if any of your family members go missing, especially your child, right? So, as of right now, and I believe this is still current, but as of right now, there is a $50,000 reward being offered for information that helps solve the case. So, if you know something, anything, it doesn't matter if you think it is insignificant or if it could fucking blow the roof off of this case, right? Please call the Benson Police Department or call the North Carolina SBI. I'll put both of those numbers up here. I don't know if it's going to go this way or that way, but whatever. If you want a deep dive, a thorough deep dive into this case, I highly recommend you look. What is it? You look at the Crime Junkie podcast. They really did their due diligence in this case. I want to say their podcast is about an hour long. Totally can listen to it in the car if you're driving somewhere, or if you just want to sit on your butt early in the mornings, drink your cup of coffee. It's a good one to watch. They sent their investigators or their journalists down here to North Carolina to talk to the sheriff, and I believe they also talked to the police of chief of police, good Lord, mini stroke, of Benson. So next week, we are going to dive into the case of Velma Barfield. She is considered death row granny, and she is right down the road, or she was right down the road. She lived right down the road in Fayetteville. And for those of us down here, it's Fayetteville, down there in Cumberland County. And her story is very interesting because she looked like your typical Southern grandmother, but she was anything but that. All right, guys. So until next week, keep your garden growing and keep your eyes open. And please, if you know anything about Cole Thomas, please share. The information is down in the description, but I will see you guys next week. And thank you for joining my very first podcast or my very first vlog. I don't even know what to call this. Hopefully you enjoyed as much as I do. True crime and gardening. Why not? All right. Y'all have a good one.